Yeah, so I must first apologize that I had thought that this is to be a different kind of audience, and I was going to present something that is a little bit more critical and self-critical. But anyway, I find this report to be very honest and very open, and I think that's also its weakness in a context outlined by Ahilan and Nirmal, which is probably not ready for this kind of thing. So that would be seen as something that can be used to sort of break the sort of back of it, as it were. I'm looking at just 5 points. One is the question of censorship and self-censorship, and that whole thing, because I think that it's amazing that a report this sensitive can leave out what is undebatedly, the most important issue among the public, that is the question of militarization and the army. And there's not a word there. There's not a word at all. In fact, and this is a kind of testament to the kind of tension and pressure and so on that has gone in there, and the kind of hard places where you don't have an enabling space. There is no safe environment, because the censorship that is done by all of the parties who have submitted things. Because to me that's important, that the commentary is as important to me as the recommendation. That the commentary does not even connect that, because I think there is censorship with different layers. People know what they can do and what they can't do, and what is sort of worth their while and not. So in that sense, I have a kind of critique. People try to say that the sort of public common sense is somehow lower or inferior. I think it's way ahead of us. I think they know exactly what is doable and what is not, and they will do what is doable. They vote the same idiots into power because that's how they get the road built or something else, and they know better than us that they're only idiots. But we will sort of align ourselves to various kinds of camps. So anyway, if you look at censorship and so on, and then you move to the question of practicality. I think in the issue of section 4, the whole question of Buddhism, there is a clear division which is honestly recorded, and one is respect that. But if we can't change, or we can't sort of have a consensus on something, what is the most blatant and clearly obvious infringement of the rights of others and a complete injustice, where are we going? Seems to be on the two key issues that are crucial, we have nothing to say, or we have to sort of say we are hopelessly divided, and then we can work out other things. So it seems to me that the committee has done a huge amount. They've tried to include this elephant in the room through one of the fundamental rights things, which is the right of non-disappearance, some really strange formulation. And there you can see the text implies that this is not something that comes under any of the other rights. So in other words, it's rights done with the sanction of the state. But it's not said that like that. So it has to be sort of thinly veiled kind of thing. So of course what's going to happen is you'll get the report, if it's accepted at all, with most of the contentious things taken out, and saying you are divided on this, therefore you can't do anything on 4, you are divided on something else, therefore you can't do anything on something else. So we are back playing sort of happy families, but with a few minor changes here and there. Maybe as I said, a second chamber full of nephews and nieces and brothers and daughters of the people who are there in the first chamber. So that's the issue. And then, but of course, the serious issue I thought was the economic thing, and there my friend Tilak is the one who has pointed me in this direction. If you look at some of the enactments from the 1990s to the 2000s, so there are 4 or 6 of them, I think, in which, of course, the Leasing Act is the most pernicious, where both the executive and judicial powers are taken over by these insurance companies, and so they can go into your house, they can do anything. They don't even have to tell the police. And you have no rights, as a lessee, you have no rights at all. In fact, according to that, once you've paid your lease, you have to give back the whatever it is. So it's really draconian, and same with the sort of Finance Act as well, where in the earlier stage it was the limits to interest was very clear. It can't be twice what you give. Your interest can only be 100%. But now that's been taken away too. So the thing is, there is a whole regime in which the state and the market are sort of going, and that's why I'm a little worried about sort of blanket neoliberal kind of thing. There are new and different ways which I think this term neoliberal is not going to capture. The last point is about the notion of the people and the idea of the consensus. This lowest common denominator is to me not adequate now. We will work for this, but at the same time we have to have a vision that looks to, I quote Spivak, the uncoercive rearrangement of desires. So we have to work to move our own understanding of this and our desires in a different place. Otherwise, we are still stuck in majorities and minorities, and we are still stuck in that sort of horrible vocabulary, that language. We are stuck in all of these kinds of things. The expectations within the system is upward mobility, right across the board is upward mobility, even for us and our children and whatever. So I think that the challenge is, while we negotiate this and realize that this will be some kind of failure for the reasons that both of you have outlined, I think we need to look at a much longer term project, which is about real reorganizing, restructuring, sort of re-envisioning ourselves.